And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet Boy, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're talking about who mourns for Adonais. Did I say it right? Adonais?
I think it's Adonais, right? That's what Father said last time.
I know, but I've been researching this, and I think it's actually pronounced Adonais. Adonis. Like Adonais. Like in a fancy Adonais. So Father's not here to defend it. I don't know where Father got the correct pronunciation from, but for now on Starfleet Boy, it's Adonais. Who mourns for Adonais? No?
I'm looking up a pronunciation thing, but it's not working.
Oh, you're actually looking it up. That's awesome. Robbie, what do you think? Chime in. Hey, Jace. Hey, Braxton. How's it going? And Mythbusters is here too. The actor and character who portrayed Apollo appears in Star Trek Continues. Yes, Michael Forrest. And I had a boss named Michael Forrest, so it's really weird whenever I...
Adonais.
Oh, it is Adonais.
I love that tweet you said, come and watch me sweat live.
It's true. I am sweating. We don't have air conditioning. Hold on, let me show the audience. Look. It doesn't look like sweat, but I swear I'm sweating. It's really gross. And my computer fans are running. My computer might freeze, so you guys have to take over. You know what to do, though. It's pretty easy. Well, we got quite a nice group in the audience here. Let's see. So Captain RGD wants to know, why don't main away team members bring bring security in each series? Or every time?
Oh man, don't get me started.
Sometimes you already started.
Sometimes I watch Star Trek and I start obviously it's a TV show, but I think to myself, I'm like, if this were real, if Starfleet were real, the captain would, first of all, that makes no sense the captain ever leaves the ship. There should be a sort of second captain who's kind of like the away mission captain, who's the security guy who kind of goes down, you know what I mean? There should be two separate teams and then a third person who commands them both in kind of the hierarchical command chain. The captain of the ship should just, because I think about modern day ships, and the captain doesn't really do anything offshore. He worries about the ship. Then there's somebody else who worries about the offshore stuff.
There's women captains now, so they worry about the ship. But yeah,
but of course it's a TV show, so it's
not.
Why would Scotty ever go on an away mission? Sorry, that was another point. Why would Scotty is an engineer? He's just supposed to run the engines.
Ruben, I just want to say that while the service that they are in does resemble in many ways military, I think, and we could do, I would love to do this as a separate just breakdown and discussion, but I think Starfleet works really differently. It's really,
well, it's not even just military. Yeah. It's just logically, right? They're explorers. That's pretty much their job. So if you're going to go down to a planet you've never seen before, why the hell are you taking an engineer? You take security personnel and scientists.
I think, here's my theory. I think they took Scotty down because they wanted to figure out where this, they're pretty certain that this, energy hand had a source. And, with Scotty there, they might be able to take that source apart or, examine it in, from an engineering perspective and, free the Enterprise. That's just my guess.
Scotty's lucky he's a special red shirt because he got hit with 2 lightning bolts
and he didn't die. It's true.
And he didn't die. And D&D lightning bolts very serious.
Ergo check. Are you having trouble?
Can I just leave momentarily? I'm being called on.
Yes.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay, cool. Okay. Report to duty at once, Ensign Robbie. You guys all have ranks, by the way. You're a captain, Ruben.
Oh, am I? I thought it was Q.
Yeah, but Q can be any rank he wants.
That was the question I had too. Do you think these guys, these Apollo and the other ones, because presumably there were other ones that just all left, but could they be Q, a sort of Q?
Yeah, I wondered about that. I actually put together. Robbie's back. Cool. Robbie, we made you the rank of ensign. Is that okay?
Sorry?
We made you the rank of ensign. Are you okay with that?
He's got way better hair than Chekhov, though.
Ensign Chekhov. Ensign Robbie.
That Chekhov wig or do he's got going. I don't know. It cracks me up.
That's funny. Oh, Trek Hat Cat's here in the audience. I wonder if I'm supposed to send him a link. Hold on. Here's the link. Trek Hat Cat. Oh, hold on. Guys, make it show. Someone do the summary. Robbie and Ruben do the summary. I'll be right back.
Take it away, Robbie.
So the Enterprise crew come across this green hand that holds onto the Enterprise bridge, and it's
right. Well, they're randomly exploring some unknown planet, right? That's the kind of. They're just like, hey, there's a planet over here. Let's check it out.
Yeah. And they find out that this creature is saying that it's a god. It's Apollo, right? Apollo. From 5,000 years ago, and
this is my best
talking
Apollo
like
pose,
he knows the crew. And the whole crew are just they're wondering, who is this person? Why is he talking like he's a god? You know, they don't quite believe it, and Kirk's put off by that. I don't trust that this is God. And of course, he goes to try and find God on a starship.
I was gonna say it's my favorite. It's not my favorite movie, but I love Star Trek 5.
I like it more
now. Robbie's doing the summary. We were just comparing it to Star Trek 5 briefly. Yeah, I like it more as I've gotten older.
It looked great, but whatever remaster magic they did, it looked really good.
We can all do this on camera. Robbie, do you have a little Enterprise? Mine is nice.
I have.
Broke one. I still have
the only thing I have is I have a Dalek.
Nice. That's good for later.
I need to get a ship. I don't have any fan stuff. I don't have any Star Trek ships or any Doctor Who stuff or anything.
Hold on, Ian. Can you show that Enterprise one more time?
No, I can't because it's literally just fallen to pieces.
Oh, jeez. Well, sorry, I didn't do full screen fast enough. But
I still had things packed away, but I did unpack this. One of my favorite things.
Oh my goodness! Oh wow! Do you eat off that plate, or is it decorative? It's just decorative.
No, hell no. It's like this is like
you guys are twins. You guys.
What? What number are you?
What number am I? I'm 193A.
This stream just got a whole lot bigger.
217 something that came. You see that shit? Yeah.
Hey, welcome,
awesome.
David. Wait, you guys, what are you like close in number?
I'm 0193A.
I can barely see my number. 2F2 HL? HK? 1K?
All right, we have to keep this under an hour.
Anyway,
welcome, David.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm locking out the stream. No more surprise guests. Robbie, you were doing a great job with your summary. That's awesome. No, none of you guys are surprises to me, but surprises perhaps to Robbie and Ruben. But Robbie was just saying, like, the crew were kind of baffled, like, that this guy thinks he's Apollo, the god from antiquity, from 5,000 years ago, and they were trying to make sense of it. And carry on, Robbie.
So Apollo beckons down on this planet.
By the way, I have to interrupt again. I'm so sorry, Robbie. But look at how much Ian looks like Apollo. Just saying.
He does actually.
We have our own Apollo in the house. All right, sorry, carry on. I didn't mean to do that.
And he treats some of they're his children or his playthings, and they have to do his bidding because he's so powerful. If they don't, he will hurt them. He'll put them in pain, and Kirk and crew have to figure out how to stop this great, powerful being with ingenuity, really.
Engineering, one might say. It's a good thing Scotty came along.
And eventually they trick him out of his own game, and they wrap everything up, of course. I think this episode is really interesting because the last time I watched it was quite a while ago, and I didn't remember much of it at all. And then I watched it today, and I enjoyed it a lot more this time. It was so good. It's like a theater production in a way, just with Apollo and the Enterprise crew, some great performances. I really enjoyed it. It's probably maybe one of my favorites, actually, of the show so far, which I'm surprised at. I didn't expect that.
Robbie, that was your best summary on this show so far. Thank you very much. That was really great. I enjoyed your summary. Good job. So anyone else have thoughts? Ruben has a lot of questions, and I think we're going to answer them all today.
No, I mean, if you want my initial comments, I think playing off what Robbie said, like, I haven't seen this episode. I haven't watched TOS through in a long ass time. So rewatching this, I watched it yesterday randomly because I didn't know what else to watch. I was like, oh, whatever. What's the episode Starfleet's doing tomorrow? I'll just watch that. And I watched it. I was really amazed by how quintessential Star Trek it is.
Oh my God, you stole the words out of my mouth.
It's
I was going to actually
Star
say
Trek.
that today.
Like, from start to finish, it's perfect Star Trek to me. It's them exploring nothing. That's it. Just them exploring. Hey, planet, let's check it out. Weird ass green hand thing come right, like this weird sci-fi space shit. And then, like Robbie said, it's almost like a play. It's just them thinking through this issue, and because they can't really fight their way out of it, right? I mean, this guy can cast lightning bolts at will, which in D&D is very, very hard. So, like, that's impressive power. As a dungeon master, I'm like, whoa!
What do you have
this
to
guy's
roll?
casting lightning bolts.
What do you have to roll?
It's a third level spell. That's a serious shit. So, and then it's just this play in front of this one set, and then at the same time, like, Spock's getting his moment to shine on the ship, being captain, really encouraging showing him, as cold as he is, still encouraging the crew to be their best or whatever. And then, I mean, we could talk about that speech that Kirk gives Caroline at the end. I was just like, this is why I love Star Trek for 40 years of my life.
We will get back to that speech. Any other thoughts, Ian or David?
I actually think it's not a very good episode.
Too campy. Tell us why.
I actually find, I mean, yes, I agree that there are some things that I find it boring.
I used to find it boring.
I actually do find it boring. I watched it last night. I kept switching off. Wow. I really, there are elements, don't get me wrong, there are elements of it are really good. I mean, how much can Scotty take? I mean, he's not Rocky Balboa. He gets taken out twice. He is, there's one thing that comes out of this. He is the toughest red shirt man.
He even acknowledges it
in this.
In the episode. I will say that Highland dancing produces a lot of strength. And core strength in particular, from what I hear. And I know that Scotty does Highland dance in the recreation room. So
his red is a slightly different.
I actually think the best bit is the compliments Spock gives Uhura.
Oh yeah, in the circuit when she's repairing the circuit,
where he says, "I can think of nobody better to do this." That is the best bit in a very 60s bit era.
A light in this darker time of our past. Yes,
absolutely.
Like, especially since so much we see so much of it slip into Star Trek. Even in this episode, actually, there are some cringeworthy moments.
Yeah, definitely.
That certainly
you're
occur.
Gonna find that in every episode, basically.
Yeah, almost every episode. Yeah,
but
which always tells me, like, our generation now, or the people living today, the fact that we see these things in even a beloved series like this, and we're able to acknowledge it and talk about it, means that we've grown as a people in some ways. Like, we still have to work on things like the environment and stuff like that, but there's other things that we're doing really well at.
I think also Jill, she said it in the comments, but she said it yesterday. It's a recycling of Charlie X, where they're, especially very much at the end, where they're turning. We're mocking you and everything. Where they're trying to basically tap his powers out. It is very much a recycling of Charlie X, and I agree with what Jill said. It is. It's just a recycle, but it's not. It's an okay episode, but I wouldn't say it's a Trek best.
All right. And David, anything?
I've actually never liked this episode. You know, the thing is that it is very 1960s. You know, the woman officer beams down, and 10 minutes in, she's smitten and ready to go off and be, you know, a mother.
I will say that, you know, maybe this is unpopular, but I can relate to her. I would be smitten by Apollo, and I would want to run off and be a mother and a goddess
but like
as well.
One of the things I compare it to, like, last week's episode. There's actual, like, the threat increases as the episode goes along. Whereas last week's episode, Spock's gonna die at one point, and then 10 minutes later in the episode, they're not even talking about that anymore. It's like it's a non-issue. You know what I mean? So, like, from an escalating threat, I could definitely see the campiness, because it is, the dude's outfit is hilarious. But as far as from a storytelling point of view, there's a consistent, credible, increasing threat as the episode goes along.
I felt the threat, but going back to, I am an exception. I think mostly it is weird that, like, she would just fall in love with Apollo, unless he has some sort of ability to seduce you with his energy field, you know,
pecs and biceps. That's what it was. It was his pecs and biceps, because that's what got you so hell. It was his pecs and his biceps.
What is it?
Tell me I'm a liar.
It did. I did notice, though, that they put makeup on his nipple to try to, like, obscure it, and I thought that was interesting and strange.
60 censors, baby.
I would actually say the sequel to this episode, which is in Star Trek Continues, is a better episode.
I would agree that it's amazing. You should watch Star Trek Continues, because
it's the first episode. Actually, it's the first episode of Star Trek Continues.
Larry Nemeczek is in that episode playing Dr.
He is
McCoy.
as Dr. McCoy, yeah.
And I didn't realize. I think that's his only episode, right? Like, is he not? Yeah. It's someone else who plays McCoy later on. Yeah, Star Trek Continues, just for those that don't know what it is. Many years ago, there was a fan-made continuation on YouTube called Star Trek Continues, and a lot of people poured a lot of love into it. It's very authentic and like, I guess I would say, faithful to the exact look of TOS, and it literally continues, I guess, the journey from season 3, right? Like, almost.
Star Trek Continues is season 4 and season 5. It's the 4th and 5th year of the 5-year mission.
Yeah,
it is.
It's very cool. I haven't seen it. Like, it's, how old is it now? It's like 10 years old, right? Like,
it's quite a few years old now. Yeah, it's quite a few years old.
So I saw it when it first came out, and it was like super awesome. I have to go revisit that too. I don't think we're gonna do Starfleet Boy discussions about it, but who knows? Maybe after I finish all the official stuff, we'll go and do fan.
Well, if Starfleet Boy doesn't do it, I will.
Awesome. Yes, you should just do it. We'll make it like a collaboration. I'll come on
Absolutely.
a few episodes. It'll be really awesome.
I'll host it, and then we won't get half the amount of viewers because you've got such a following. But we'll go for it.
I have a feeling we might be able to pull some strings and get Larry Nemeczek on that first episode.
Yeah, if we could get Larry on that, especially for the first episode, that would be great.
But I didn't mean to digress so much, David. I know you have a couple of interesting things that you sent me, and now that you're here, I don't even have to like read them and pretend that I came up with it. So if you want to give us those cool
you haven't
tidbits,
gone through that yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Well, a common misconception by a lot of fandom is that the title directly refers to Greek gods, and that's actually not true. The title comes from an 1821 poem that was written by Shelley when John Keats died. And it was an obituary that was written in the style of the old Greek gods. And in it, Shelley referred to Keats as an Adonais like Adonais. And that's why the title is Who Mourns for Adonais, as a god, like a god that walks among men. Anyways, that's just cool. A little bit of trivia.
And I've been just like Ruben here for 40 some odd years. No, not that long, but for many, many years, for over 30 years, we've been saying Adonis.
Yes.
And I actually saw it spelled as Adonis in my brain, and I would have written it as Adonis had it not been. But I do want to say, give a shout out to my wonderful, amazing graphic designer who was here. He popped in the stream real quick, and I saw him, Gary from Trekker Prize. So hello, Trekker Prize. Nice to see you popping in the comments there. And he also mentions that the follow-up episode from Star Trek Continues is really good, featuring the original actor from the episode. That's true, Michael Forrest. But he designed my graphic correctly, so it's spelled correctly in the graphic. So thank you, Gary, for not having done the same thing that I did all these times. But yeah, Adonais, which apparently is the correct. It's not Adonais, which is what I was trying to get away with. Like, but it's, you guys don't like Adonais. Adonais.
It sounds
like
Ian's
on mute. Hold on.
Put it on my steak.
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I said Adonis. I thought for years and years and years.
You were the same.
Adonis. Yeah, I was for years. It's the older I've got, I start reading properly.
What did you guys think of Leslie Parrish as Lieutenant Palamas in this episode? She was, I guess, the yeoman of the week, because now that we kind of do that, like, there's
I thought she was wasted.
Yeah,
I thought she was really wasted. Like, she seemed like she was a competent officer.
Oh, I get it. I thought you meant like she was like drunk on screen.
No.
I was like, wait a second,
right now,
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I agree. I agree. She, I mean, right at the very start, she seemed to be intelligent and everything. It's, oh, I love you. I think you're wonderful. And it just, boom. She lost all credibility there and then. She fell in love so quickly. It's just sad.
I thought that she was going to be pretending that she was in love, but she was fairly one-dimensional.
Yeah.
I did like the performance that she gave when she does finally turn on Apollo. I was very like, it felt really harsh. Like it was like earlier, it was like an epic diss. Like she's just like, wait a second, like I could no more love you than I love bacteria. I'm like so using that the next time I mean, like,
she has
when I break up with Apollo myself, I'm going to be using the same exact line. Is all I have to say.
She actually has a really great arc. She starts off as a hardworking, tired yeoman who's trying to find time to make time with a guy, and then she's offered the chance to be a goddess by a god. And then she gives it up to be the true Starfleet officer she is, and diss him with the super diss of, hey, you're just an ant. You're just a curious.
She was ordered to.
She gave
her that order. She didn't want to.
She ultimately could have like disobeyed the order though, but she kind of I think she kind that so there's a little bit of weirdness going on there because he has to order her. Like I would do 100% would do the same thing if I were in Kirk's shoes. If I could find any way to get my crew out, those little sacrifices, unfortunately, as harsh as they are, would probably be worth it in the end as it turned out to be. But she could have refused them and she could have been like, yo, Apollo, Kirk's trying to get me to like stop taking your, like your amazing, powerful love, and I'm gonna go, and so we should do something about it. But instead, she does actually, I feel like, have agency and aligns with him, and then chooses to do that, and in a most effective way, mind you, it does work. And you can tell it's hard. You can tell it's hard
based
for
on
her.
Order. It's based on a speech that Kirk gives her about her doing this for humanity. It's not really an order.
Well,
the speech Kirk gives her is amazing, and is linking her to you do this or we become slaves.
I'm going to be really contentious. I think she's a bitch.
She's a bitch.
She dropped Scotty like this real bad habit. She thinks nothing of him whatsoever because right at the very start of the episode, they're all lovey-dovey, they're everything else. Apollo comes on, Scotty. It really is, and I feel so sorry for Scotty. And she,
Bones.
Awful.
Come on, Bones saw it. Bones is amazing. By the way, there's I love that opening, the pre-credits sequence because it's so weird and out of place. I don't think that I would ever write a scene like this. But he's like, I don't like the look of this. And then Kirk's like, why? Why shouldn't like the crew fraternize or whatever, right? And then
I am losing an officer.
Yeah. That whole thing. But Bones,
that was very awkward.
But Bones is very intuitive because he calls out. He's like, Scotty's totally into her, but she doesn't seem to have the same kind of affection towards him. And I think had Star Trek been a different kind of show, we would have seen more of her. But we never see her again, as far as I know. Right? Like this is. Like I
Bones does mention
I guess it was too traumatic, and they had to like pay her like her pension early and retire from Starfleet and say, sorry, you were like you went through like the worst possible thing any lieutenant could ever go through. Let's send you home, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the worst thing they could have done is written this episode so that she leaves Apollo for Scotty. That's the worst possible thing they could have done.
I actually think that would have been brilliant.
I think it would have been brilliant too. Actually,
terrible.
Yes,
I would have liked it. I would have liked it. Scotty deserves a companion. He never really truly gets one in the original.
That's so like, oh, woe is me. Girl has to pick between boys. Instead, she ends being I choose.
She picked all right. She picked Apollo. That's where I felt. And then Apollo nearly kills him twice. So I really feel sorry for Scotty in this episode. I really do.
I felt sorry for Scotty too. I agree. That's a wild tangent, guys. But
Scotty's like the Geordie.
Scotty is like the Geordie. It's true. With their engines.
Yep.
I think the best line. One of the best lines. Bar Spock up in Uhura. The best line is McCoy when he turned around and said about Chekhov, where Chekhov is giving all the data and all the information he sent. He's spending too much time with Spock. It's sort of that.
Yeah, that was really funny.
That was really good.
Nice. I had no idea how obvious Chekhov's is. My wig obvious, guys? Because I had no idea how obvious like Chekhov's wig was.
Chekhov's wig is.
I think it was intermediate. He had the original Davy Jones wig. His hair's starting to grow out. It's sort of. I think that's where that comes in.
I don't know how to pronounce your username, so I'm just gonna say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious says the idea that a woman would have to leave Starfleet to get married is incredibly outdated. Yes, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 1000%.
Well, don't forget in this series, a woman couldn't be captain.
Right.
As well.
I like the retcon that because it's written out kind of with that's the whole thing. Those of us who want the cage to be considered non-canonical are on that page because in the menagerie, they cut that part out about women on the bridge and stuff like that. But I guess they have to retcon or redo whatever the line is in Turnabout Intruder, is it? Or which episode is it that they say that women can't be captains? It's
Turnabout Intruder where women can't be captains. Yeah, this was the last episode of TOS.
I think there should be a button that says like, here's the corrected version that like is better for like human sensibilities and and like things like that, and here's the original version that is a reflection of the poor taste of the time. Like I think there should be little
well, it sucks because the intention was actually good, right? To show how women it's not fair that women can't be put into business, but they just didn't think about let's do this a little bit better.
Spock is also using a slide rule, I think, or some kind of like a device you wouldn't think that they would use to do math. But I guess if you really want to like make sure the math is correct, you got to get a pen and a paper, or a pencil and a paper. So
like I thought this episode reminded me of like the Audra episode in TNG, and how that was an evolution of this kind of episode and a better kind of more interesting, deeper look into the same kind of idea, sort of, because she's not a god at the end. But
this episode reminds me of the one when Q gives that woman powers in TNG.
You mean the Olivia Diabo, the other Q?
Yeah.
The Q in training or whatever?
Yeah, that episode.
Yeah. What is that called? Q who?
No, that's
it's got a Q in front of it, right? Like it's one of the
it's the episode with Olivia Darbo. Yeah, it's
from the great Conan.
It's so boring.
True Q. I think it's called True Q.
True Q.
Is it True Q?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you again, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'm so sorry I can't pronounce your handle correctly, so I hope you don't mind. Stress-free K, hello. To me, Kirk should have argued for humanity's inalienable right to be free rather than we're humans and they are not. Yeah, there was like a degree of that. Like, I wish that like Star Trek took into account more that the Federation is composed of many different worlds. And so I always kind of wish TNG does it sometimes too. It's like sometimes they forget that the Federation is not a Homo sapiens. Well, maybe it is a Homo sapiens only club, right? Present company accepted.
That's not true.
Accepted. That's not true. It isn't. No. Whatever. Don't do this on a Trek show. Start quoting Star Trek 6. To be or not to be? That is the question. Sorry.
We need breathing room.
Earth Hitler 1938. Oh my gosh. What just happened? In the 60s in the US, most women had to leave their jobs when they got married. That's true, Shishan Girl. That was like a common thing. I think Kirk's speech was specious. Yeah, we were just saying, I mean, why should humans see themselves as superior in worth than other species? I didn't get that particular vibe. I got more of like a do it for like, not necessarily saying humans were any better, but because we are humans, do it for that, like something like that. Maybe he thought that was the best way to tap into her compassion or break her out of the spell of Apollo or something. But yeah, I wish it was a little bit more inclusive of the Federation,
I think that's a result mostly of humans writing for other humans,
right?
The day.
And there's this thing at the end, and like we have to relate to it, I guess. Like it has to be relatable in some ways, and so it's a tough one. But the speech was delivered beautifully. Like I did like the way he was like trying to like make contact with her physically so that she could kind of wake up out of it and feel like another, the touch. And it is really in that situation, like whatever Apollo is, he's not human. So it is an us against them in that way. You know what I mean? Like,
right. He doesn't mention slavery,
right?
Like becoming slaves,
right?
Like not just humans, but whoever's on the ship, basically. I mean, I guess it's mostly humans on the ship for the most part, right? On this Enterprise.
Yeah.
This Enterprise,
Jill says, I didn't see her being lovey-dovey with Scotty at all. She wasn't into him. Yeah, unfortunately.
She was, Bones says it in the beginning. Yeah, he's into her, but she's like, whatever.
So, really, being there, she was a pig tease.
What's that?
Scotty's the Geordie.
She was a prick tease.
Wow.
Scotty worked on a holodeck program for a long time, and Christy was.
I know this is. I mean, I know I've had a glass of wine, but still,
that's awesome.
This is this. I mean, yeah. For me, she comes out awful. She has the potential of being a really good character, but for me, she comes out poorly.
She's definitely one-dimensional. I think there could have been more to her, but she does have a lot of potential. I don't know a lot about the expanded Apocrypha, and I haven't seen Pilgrim to Eternity in a long time. Does this character come back in Pilgrim? No, okay. So like they didn't resurrect the story.
I'm not quite sure whether she is actually the wife. I can't remember. I'm just thinking now.
Yeah, I have to go back and see it. Sorry for not knowing. For anyone in the audience, I think there were a few folks who have seen Pilgrim to Eternity. Does Lieutenant Palamas come back in that? And that would be interesting to see. But I also just thought like it would have been interesting. Like there's always, this is like a thing that Lower Decks kind of does now, or that I thought it would do more of, that I would love to see more of, is like they have the rubbles of this like advanced technology after they destroy it. And, there's got to be a team that comes in later and is like, how did this work? Section 31, I guess, is who does it, right? Like, and like, and they try to figure it out. And stuff like that. What do you guys actually think Apollo, like, do you think the episode leaves it to your imagination to, like, is there a suggestion that perhaps he is some sort of ethereal being and that they did come to Earth? And like, like the idea of, I guess, ancient aliens. I made a card for it. I forgot about that. Right. So like, this is like kind of like the thing that I thought about when Kirk was speculating, like maybe 5,000 years ago, these like beings came to Earth and like presented themselves to sheep herders, and they would have been like gods to them. And that made them believe that they were gods, or like they've taken on this identity. I wish we had gotten more about these. Like, I wish there was more about what they are, because I love that idea. I think it's a very interesting idea, and you see it suggested later in TNG, and probably done in a more modern scientific way, which is like the lady who says like we've spread like our genetic core all over the galaxy, and we've seeded all of you, and so you're all related in some way. Cardassians, Klingons, Romulans, everyone. And so I always like these ideas. What did you guys think of that concept and like Apollo in general? And what do you think he is?
I think Apollo is another being. Yes, he looks like a human. I think you're right. I think, and also you take 5,000 years ago, science comes across as magic and godlike to the uneducated. If you look at the stuff that we have today, I mean, compared to, just 50 years ago, we've got these phones that have got, that are supercomputers in comparison to the Second World War. They're, you look at that type of thing, and you that type of being 5,000 years ago would be a god. They could stop people breathing. They could bring lightning, thunder, that type of thing. To somebody 5,000 years ago, it would be terrifying, and also, this person would be a god. So, and I think,
and it seems like they also draw energy somehow from worship, because apparently, like, they need it. Like, he needs it like really badly. Like, so he's just been sitting in this chair for like the last like 5,000 years waiting. It begs the question, like, were there other ships that like have encountered this like
Star Trek likes lonely gods.
It's true.
This is Star Trek Monsters Inc.
But it would have been cool to get more, like, is he imprisoned? Maybe they freed him when they destroyed the temple.
I think it's
or
kind
whatever.
of
it's like
insinuated that he's the last one holding on. I mean, he is Apollo, so he is holding on to the light, the hope that they can become the gods they once were again. That's kind of how I took it. That's why he's Apollo specifically.
He was basically, the proverbial torch. He was the torch holder.
Right.
He was saying, that the others had gone. They said this would not happen again, but he was holding vehemently to that They will come back. They will worship us. That type of thing. So yeah, in that bit, I am in agreement.
Right. And then she dissed them, and that was it.
Yeah.
Fucking Enterprise versus lightning bolts.
There's some really good points in the audience, and I have to agree, Ian. I think you need to reevaluate your opinion on Lieutenant Palamas being a prick tease. I think that Ian's like, nope, I'm not. Okay, very well. I'm just saying, I agree with the audience on this one, but we'll drop it at Starfleet after dark. Maybe we'll continue the debate there.
For once, I am sticking to my guns.
All right, all right.
I will say I'm with Scotty on this one. I feel so sorry for him. She led him on to think she was
Robbie also agrees with Ian. All right, we have a divided panel here, guys.
For once, we are divided.
Jill poses the question: rejoice or be squished? Poses the question: why did the gods leave Earth? I forgot. I think it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think that basically we became more, as human beings, we became more educated. We didn't need the gods as much. We started knowing in ourselves, and you see it. I mean, you could actually take today. You know, how many people really are, into God and the Bible and everything else. I mean, I'm not. I believe there is a spirituality in the world. Is there a godlike character? I'm not so sure. There's Muhammad, and also there's one bit where Kirk actually said there's only one God. I disagree with that.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that either.
I didn't. That was a very 60s point of view. Yes, you have Christianity, you have Judaism, Muslim, Islam. You have so many different type of things. That was wrong.
I think they fixed that. They even fixed that in TNG, where it becomes more. Picard in some episodes talks about all the different beliefs in Starfleet.
Well, they actually fixed it in Discovery as well with Pike when they go to the church, and it's the mixture of all the different religions.
Oh yeah, that was a great moment. Ruben doesn't watch Star Trek Discovery. He doesn't know what we're talking about. But
watch Star Trek Discovery season 2.
He's being quiet.
I've heard of the show. I'm photoshopping. Sorry, I'm also photoshopping right now. So.
That's amazing. Yeah. Starfleet Boy, where you have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek and work on Photoshop projects while you have a discussion. I love it, actually. I actually love it. Ian should do a Lego build next time. I would actually love that too.
My
David should edit a video.
Oh my God, I've done one already. How can we do that?
Amazing. Humans fell out of love with the gods. Definitely. And I think there's a suggestion, maybe I read this wrong, but there's a suggestion that they were ejected from Earth in a very like kind of, once humans started getting wise to the. By the way, I love when Kirk's like, no, mister, like he calls him mister, like he's like, you better believe it, mister. I love those kinds of moments. But basically humans may have it's cool to imagine that some of these what's the movie with the Titans that they just redid, like all these movies about the gods and like humans defeating them, like all that stuff. Like it's amazing to think that Star Trek has a past that has a moment like that, like where there's like I would actually love to see like a spin-off series done where like or like a limited spin-off movie done showing these same characters like the rest of them, like at the whoever else he mentioned, Zeus, and the other who's the other ones that he mentions.
He rattles off like a list. I was like, there's a point where I'm like, okay, guys, three's enough.
You've got the point.
You got rejoice or be squished that he's like a name dropper. It's
You've got Pan, who he doesn't like because he thinks Spock reminds him.
Oh yeah, that was a weird moment to keep Spock away from that, like that he reminds him.
Yeah, I think that was just we don't know. We want to keep Spock on the ship, but we don't know how else to keep him. He just hates the pointy ears. It reminds him of Pan. That's it. Okay.
Captain Quinn says it's a very American point of view too. Yeah, it's true. Babylon 5 did much better with religion. I'm trying to catch up on Babylon 5. I'm so sorry that I'm behind on it. I will catch up, but yeah, I hear that's true.
You say that though. There's 20 years difference between TOS and Babylon 5.
Yeah, it's true.
You're always going to have that difference. I mean, I think this episode very much is embedded in the 60s.
Yeah, there's a lot, definitely. There's a lot I saw in this episode where I thought, oh, TNG did that. They got away, like the thing with the religion, the thing with, like there's a line where Kirk says to Chekhov, you're going to earn your pay. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
He never brings that sort of thing up, and that's and then that's the kind of idea we get that Star Trek, no one gets paid per se, but
you get credit,
which is very,
there's
which is very
that happens.
That's how gung ho ship Navy talk. You're gonna earn your pay, son. And there's another line where Kirk tells that I wrote down actually that Kirk and Chekhov an exchange they have. Where is it? Kirk's gonna go talk to Caroline right before he's gonna give her the big speech or whatever. And is it Caroline? Is that her name?
Yeah, her name's Caroline Palamas.
Yeah,
Lieutenant, I call her Lieutenant Palamas.
Chekhov says, "Perhaps if I assisted." And Kirk's like, "How old are you?" And Chekhov's like, "22, sir." And Kirk says, "I better handle this." And I'm like, "What? What are you handling? You're trying to save humanity here. You're not trying to have sex with her here, Kirk. Get your priorities straight,
buddy." I actually have to agree with Kirk on that one. I mean, I would rather be a 30-year-old me than a 22-year-old me. That's for certain.
Father's here, and he says, "Is Thor in the Star Trek universe or just Greco-Roman gods?" 100% there should be a crossover with Marvel's Thor and Star Trek.
No. Have it with Stargate. Actually, have Thor from Stargate.
Disney will buy Paramount soon enough.
Yeah. Robbie, you were going to say something earlier, and I didn't let you go.
I was just going to say that obviously TOS is very dated, but there's a reason why it's not obsolete like a lot of the shows from the 60s now. Because even though there's all the dated stuff, a lot of the attitudes that aren't so 60s based and are ahead of its time stand out against that. I really thought of that more while I was watching this episode, but I think I was a bit wrong after hearing everything they've all been talking about. It's funny to think that, sometimes it can be so ahead of its time, and then there's little things that it does that just holds it back.
Yeah. I agree, Robbie. I totally agree, Robbie.
It's a big question that comes up, especially for folks who really love the original series. Is like, how long? What's its staying power? And is it something that's going to be around in 100 years from now or 200 years from now? I say yes, but who knows? But
I actually think TOS will age better than TNG.
Really?
I actually think that I know there's a lot of people, including you, Stuffly Boy, that will say that TNG is better.
I don't know if I'll feel that way after our rewatch, because I'm really enjoying TOS.
I actually think the first 3 seasons of TNG are very, very poor. But TOS was 3 seasons. It set the standard. Yes, there are episodes like this episode that are very embedded with the 1960s, but there are far more episodes than this one that really do set precedents to say there's a better life, there's a better world, we have a better future. I think it really did set the precedent. I mean, TNG season 3 onwards really run with that type of philosophy, but I think there are certain elements where TOS will probably age better.
Well said. So on that note, we're coming up to an hour pretty soon. So a few closing thoughts. Let's go to one more thing that I wanted to point out, and we're sorry that TexTrek couldn't be here today, but even TexTrek needs a break sometimes. Father says, I met this actor once at a con in Plano, Texas. Did I say that right? Plano, or is it Plano? Plano, Texas. I think it's Plano, Texas. It's very cool. So Michael Forrest is the name of the actor who played Apollo, and I think I lost my page notes. Damn it! I forgot if he's still around, but I don't think he is. I think he passed away.
Yeah.
So what does God need with a starship? One thing we didn't really talk about, and you guys can chime in however you want to, but I felt a lot of connectivity from like kind of the ending of this episode to the ending of Star Trek 5. Just from like a visual perspective, like they're both destroying, like, you know, God comes out of this like rocky whatever shrine or whatever in Star Trek 5 on Shakari, and they have to shoot a photon torpedo at it. It's like almost like they lifted the scene and they were just like, let's just kind of do another variation on the same theme for that. And then I wished that there might have been like a connection. It would have been neat if Apollo disappeared like he does at the end of this episode, and like what he becomes is that Shakari, like he's already been like, to put it another way, like Apollo on Vulcan, when they all went over there, when it didn't work on Earth and they went on Vulcan, or maybe it didn't work on Vulcan at first and then they went to Earth, right? But at some point the god of Shakari was the same dude that Apollo is, and it would have been neat if like that came back into play in Star Trek 5 and connected it to this. So in my head canon, I'm totally connecting it. But I thought, David, it looked like you were raising your hand.
No.
Oh, okay. You're just.
I was thinking.
Okay, cool. There you go.
You make me think.
Okay, great. So yeah, that's my head canon for this, but I loved it. I love whenever there's connective tissue. Another thing that I really thought was remarkable was, and I adore the TOS film era. It's like where I've spent the most time as a fan in terms of watching. Like I've watched the movies so much, it's ridiculous. It's probably it's probably a crime to admit how much I've watched those films, but but I loved seeing McCoy and Kirk interact in this episode, because to me that was particularly like familiar with how they interact with each other. You know, like how McCoy like just casually like challenges him all the time, and like will put out like a slightly snarky remark, or just like, you know, do something like, it was very McCoy. It was very familiar from the TOS film era, so I like that about it too. Overall, I was just like Robbie said at the opening, I was going into this episode expecting to mostly just laugh at it and like think that it was, you know, because it's very campy, and of course, you know, it's very theatrical and over the top. I mean, like it's Apollo, right? so that's what I totally thought, and I ended up enjoying it immensely. So for me, I give this episode an 8.5.
Whoa. Oh, 10?
No, this one doesn't get a 10.
I'm shocked.
I gotta save my 10s sometimes. This one gets an 8.5. Hello. This is the story of Apollo and Caroline right here. That's amazing. Hello, welcome to our show.
Saying welcome to our show.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very cool. No one's gonna know what this means, but it's a good moment. Thank you. Ian, I take it you have to go, so give us your rating.
I'm actually yeah, we are. I'm gonna go, but I give this a 5.5.
A 5.5. All right. What about you, David?
A 4.
Oh wow, that's right. This
4.
Oh my goodness! I want to know what Father's rating is. And audience, please tell us your ratings as well. Ruben, what's your rating?
Father is like something 0.785523.
Oh, he did say it already.
No, I don't know. I just
okay.
He's one of I'm not much of a number guy either. I don't know, 6.5.
A 6.5. And Robbie, give us your rating.
I'm going to give it a 9. Just it could have been a lot worse, but I think the performances are really
hey, I give it a 9.5. It's awesome. I love it. By the way, we got a 10 from Captain Quinn on this episode, but finish your thought, Robbie.
No way.
I was just saying, I'll give it a 9, and that might be controversial, but I think the performances are so good that it lifts the episode up a bit, and I really enjoyed it a lot more than I remembered. I thought it would be a snooze fest because I remembered being bored to this episode, and I really enjoyed it.
Can we just get Robbie to say snooze fest again? That was so cute.
Robbie, say snooze fest again, please.
What an interestingly different episode.
Obviously, with these guys, you can say snooze fest anytime you like. To these
snooze fest. I love it. I love it.
We got an 8 from Stress Free K and a 4.5 from Rejoice or Be Squished. Wow, what a this episode's like all over the board on ratings. Very cool, guys. This was such a fun discussion.
I'd like to say Michael Forrest is still alive and he's 91.
Oh, he's got an incredible career too.
Amazing.
As a voice actor.
It's his birthday on the 17th of April, so he will be, if he gets through, he will be 92 on the 17th of April.
If you like anime, you've probably heard his voice.
Yeah, he's a very wonderful voice. Very cool. Thanks for putting that on the stream too. Everyone go check out Trek Cat on YouTube as well as Twitter. I like to call him TCCC.
that's actually what it is now. It's TCCC on Twitter.
Which is okay, cool, perfect. Yeah. And what do you have coming up, or anything to promote?
Yeah, well, I'm just in the middle of my latest build, which will be a communicator, a Lego communicator. This is
fancy,
half built. So there will be a Lego communicator.
I love it. I can't wait to see it.
Coming very, very soon.
Very cool. Excellent. And so you can go check out David. Wait, let me do this. Sorry, it's not mirrored. You can go check out David at Triangulum Audio Studios. And you got anything new that you want to promote, David?
No, I'm just alive.
It's true. You were sick. I'm so honored that you came on the stream, by the way, and you look great.
Oh no, I don't. I quickly put myself together, but
you can check out Ruben at ruben-rights.com.
Yep.
And occasionally here on these TOS streams, which I'm loving, by the way, that you've been on. So thank you for giving me some of your time. And anything else you got to promote right now?
Interviews on popaxiom.com, interviews on rumorg.com. Some music video things, short films I wrote, I guess are being filmed, but I don't know when the hell when that comes out. So I'm just a writer for those things. We're not privy to such knowledge. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And then Ensign Robbie, you can check him out as Earl Grey Trekkie on Twitter as well as on YouTube. And Earl Grey Trekkie's doing a Doctor Who series that I'm a part of, and I really enjoy it. And we're recording a new episode today, which will drop tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Anything else you got to promote or talk about?
No.
Excellent. Well,
how's that for being succinct?
Short and sweet. All right. Live long and prosper, everyone. Happy Passover to anyone who's celebrating, and